Hey everyone, this is Bridgette Raes, and I'm back with another stylish tip for you this week. Actually, this week I want to start out by introducing or recommending a book to you. It's actually by my friend Patty Chang Anchor. If you've not heard of it, it's showing up backwards because I'm filming on my iPhone. But if you've not heard of it, the name of the book is Some Nerve: Lessons Learned While Becoming Brave. Patty wrote this book. It's part memoir, part guide on how to face your fears. And I think I have a line in this book. I think she interviewed me. I know I'm in this book for I think a sentence. So I actually show up in this book, but I'm recommending it too because later in July, Patty told me she's doing a retreat. July 26th and 27th for Facing Your Fears. You can visit her website, which is Patty Chang Anchor. It's PattyChanganker.com to find out more about Patty's amazing book, as well as the retreat she has coming up, which sounds fantastic. And I figured this would be a good segue to introduce fear. What about style fears? Do you have a fear of style? I'm not talking about things like, I have a legitimate fear of tube tops. And if you had my chest size, you'd understand why. I'm not talking about those type of fears, like a fear of flip-flops or a fear of, anything like that. I'm talking about a fear of having your own style. I think that it sounds odd that we could be afraid of style. So many of us want to be more stylish, so why are we afraid of it? But many of us are, because style takes a certain level of confidence. It takes a certain level of boldness. It takes a certain level of risk-taking. It takes a certain level of not knowing what the end result can be. As I always like to say, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And I'm reminded of this from a personal story with a client of mine that I had a couple of months ago. And it was such a great example of someone's fear of having style. And I have this client. I can't say too much about her personal information, but I will tell you she is not only amazing, but she's Jewish and very observant, very religious. And when I started working with her, I knew that would come with obviously certain challenges, being as observant and faithful to her religion as she is. Her clothing is more modest. She would definitely be considered Orthodox Jewish. Head coverings when she goes to shul, which is temple, and other things like that you can imagine. And she told me that she had a wedding coming up. Now, it would be perfectly acceptable for this client to, that's a plane going by. Do you hear my plane? It would be perfectly acceptable for my client at the time to put a headscarf on. And, head coverings are important. And that would have been totally fine. But we talked about it and we said, there has to be something more than just wrapping your head with a scarf. She doesn't wear a wig, which some very observant Jewish women do, which is called a sheitel, as I've learned. She does not wear one. So head covering would have to be a scarf, or an alternative. She could do a hat. We didn't want to do a full-on hat. And I said, well, what about a fascinator? Depending on how much head coverage we need, we might be able to find one. And a fascinator is what you saw a lot of the women wear when Kate Middleton got married, those fancy hats that fly all over the place on the head. And what if we could find one that would give you enough coverage and really work with the dress that you're wearing, and you could be stylish and also observant to your religion? So we wound up at this amazing hat store down in what's called Avenue J in Brooklyn, which is a very, very big, there's a big Jewish population there. So a lot of the stores cater to the needs of this community. And this hat store, which I will definitely get the information for you as to where it was and the name of it, because it was amazing, had the most incredible hats, the most incredible fascinators, scarves, accessories, but the hat wall was to die for. If you're a hat person, you'd start salivating the second you'd walk in. And I said, see, this is what I meant by a fascinator. I think we should try one of these. And I was surprised when my client got very nervous about it and said, no, I can't try one of those on. I was like, come on, just try it on and put it on. No. So then I managed to somehow drag her to the wall. It was like pulling a dog that doesn't want to come in when you're walking them or go in the direction you want to go in. And I was really surprised. Why is she being so resistant to the idea of this? I'm not making her buy it. I'm not making her do anything. I'm just try it on. And when I was a kid, my mom and I loved trying hats on. So I couldn't quite get her reaction. So then I finally got her to try it on, and I don't even think she looked at herself in the mirror for more than a second and was like, no, I have to take it off. I have to take it off. So we took it off, and as a stylist, you have to know when to push and when to pull with a client. And I said, all right, so this is clearly there's something going on here. She's resisting this, and I'm not sure why. Again, I'm not making her buy it. I'm just having her try it on. So we continued looking at the store, and I kept kind of pushing it a little bit and, well, try it again. Or what about this? See, this is what I mean. And, she would say, no, I think I'm just going to wear a scarf on my head. And I'd be like, but that's going to look stupid, and back and forth and back and forth. And I was determined. Finally, with the help of the most amazing saleswoman who worked there, the woman was incredible. We managed to get a fascinator hat on my client and kept it on her head for long enough for her to look in the mirror and get comfortable with herself. Well, long story short, she not only bought one fascinator for her wedding, the wedding she had to attend, she bought a second one and has told me since that she has worn them constantly to temple and to events and so on and so forth where she needs to cover her head. So why was she so freaked out by it? And we talked about it after she purchased them. And I said, I was not prepared for your reaction to trying something new. And what it boiled down to was there was a certain sense of fear with stepping out. There was a fear on her part to take a chance, to be bold. And I think that stops a lot of people. And I even said to her when we were talking, I said, every time I put an outfit together that's stepping out, or I know I'm going to stand out, or I feel good about it, but I'm not sure. I said, style, I'm always a little bit nervous, but I do it anyway because I'm embracing who I am and I'm expressing myself. Expressing yourself with clothing is no different than expressing yourself with your words, with any other form. What you say, if you're a singer, singing, an artist who paints, it's no different. And there's a certain level of vulnerability that comes with embracing your style. And I think it's what stops a lot of women. And I think it's what stops a lot of women from accessorizing. Because truly, accessorizing is buying those things that you really respond to and really have a reaction to. And I think that's a lot of why women just avoid it, because they're not sure of themselves and they're not willing to take risks and they're not willing to step out. So if you have been having a hard time with being stylish or feeling like I can't do it, and realizing that perhaps you are not trying because you're afraid, I want you to really look at that and identify if that might be the reason. Are you just afraid to be you? Are you afraid to step out? Are you afraid to try something for the first time? Are you afraid of what people will think when you walk into a room? Is it easier to blend? Is it easier to fall into the wall or the ground in a place versus stepping out and being the one that people pay attention to? Could that be the reason why you're possibly struggling with your own personal style? It's definitely worth noting and taking and paying attention to. Is it just fear? Are you afraid of your style? Something to ask yourself and something to keep in mind this week as I give you this stylish tip and story and recommendation to check out Some Nerve by my very good friend, Patty Chang Anchor. If you have a question or a comment about this, feel free to email me or comment here on the video at my cat's walking by my video. That was my cat walking by my video. That's my other cat. I'm trying to record here. If you have any questions, you can also find me at BridgetteRaes.com, on Facebook.com/Bridgette Raes Style Expert, on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and every other form of social media. I'm at Bridgette Raes. It's been great catching up with you. You may not see this version. I may have to re-record it again because my cat decided to get involved. Or you're seeing this and I can't be bothered doing it again. All right, have a great week. Talk to you next week.